Is it possible to save a warped canvas or a canvas that is not tight? And you could clearly see the concaveness of it in here. Now, we all buy these because they're inexpensive. They come in these big multi-packs. We get to paint a lot, which is what we want. But the downside is they're not the highest quality and they are mass produced. And then they are transported all over, which means they're exposed to dry climates and then humid climates and then dry again. And all of that affects the integrity of the canvas as a whole. So often when we get them, they're not tight and you could see almost crease marks or crevices. And let me slide over here and show you what I mean, because sometimes you can actually salvage it. All right. So you can see here on the corners that they all, we shouldn't be having this. You can see that it's not even, that I don't know if it's because it wasn't stapled correctly, because they do it in a rush sometimes, machines and all that. But you can see, like, particularly on the corners, it's not really good. And I could never sell this if I got a great practice painting. It's not the highest quality canvas, but that's not to say you can't sell it. But it's really this here that is going to keep someone from wanting to purchase it. So here's a hack that I learned a long time ago. Is it works sometimes, depends on how bad this is. Sometimes it's not salvageable and you don't know until you try, but you can see that the wood is maybe not. This one's actually pretty even, but sometimes the wood is not aligned correctly, and those I can't always save. But here's what I do. I get my trusted water bottle. It's just water. And I look at where the marks are. Sometimes they're in the center, right? Sometimes you have something that was sharp poking through like that, and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? Well, that's an easy fix. I'm going to show you. So I want to observe where it's not good, and it's on these corners in this one. So in this case, and I'm going to spray that section too, but in this case you want to spray the back of the canvas, and because it's in the corners, I'm letting the water drip. I really want it to get in there. I want it to get on the back side of this. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to spray water all over this canvas and let it really get in there. And don't be afraid of it, because this, if it doesn't work, then there's nothing you can do anyways, except maybe take it off and try to put it on a different surface that's more level. But this is always worth a shot. And I will flip it over and I will just let it dry. So we're going to set this one aside and let it dry. All right. So the canvas has dried, and I'm pleasantly surprised. This one was a great one to do it on. And again, you don't know unless you try. So if it doesn't work, oh well, you've tried. And in this case, check it out. It is like a perfect canvas. Now, if I tilt it, I could see there's a little bit of a section here from the side that for some reason is bumping out, and I cannot figure out why. So in that case, all I'm going to do is spray the back of it very lightly, and it should, because the rest of the canvas has reacted, and in fact, I see it going away right now. You can see the wet spot probably, but it is flat. So let me slide it over here, and let's take a look at it closer. Now there is, maybe I could see a slightness of it here, but I think that is also because of the light. It really, when I look at it flat on in person, I don't see this shadow here. But just take a look at all these corners. And look at how tight the canvas is. That's what we wanted. And that's what spraying it does with the water bottle. It wets it, and then as it dries, it tightens right up, and it becomes a nice, tight, perfect canvas for us to paint on now. So I can go ahead and use this and feel really good about it. There is one more hack that I did want to share really quickly. Sometimes the wood is a little warped, not just this part, but the actual wood. And depending on the severity of it, if it's too severe, you're going to have to take it off and put it on a new frame. But sometimes we could take these and put them in a floating frame if it's warped slightly. And you won't be able to tell because the wood of the frame is going to be screwed into the back of this floating frame. And it's just enough to keep it tight and in position so that when you have it displayed, you'll never know. So I hope that helps. They are two really great hacks that really still work for me now, even though I generally don't use these canvases to sell, but sometimes when we're practicing and we're painting and we're putting it in our house, they're perfect. So you can actually take away a lot of what would keep us from painting on here. And with a nice tight canvas, you can get a really beautiful painting.